Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our entitled parents. In today's episode, mom threatens and fakes suicides to make a 10-year-old take her side in fights. Entitled mother showed up to my door and tried to break into my home. She assaulted me, and I had to defend myself. Now she's making herself out to be the victim. Vent, why can't MIL keep her mouth shut about our baby news? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Mom threatens and fakes suicides to make a 10-year-old take her side in fights. Trigger warning: suicide. For context, the mom in these stories is unfortunately mine. When I was 7 years old, I went to bathroom to pee, just to find a bathing mug 20% filled with blood. I ran outside crying in panic to mom. She said it's her blood she removed with injection because dad didn't want to take her to an orchestra. Similarly, she would accuse dad a lot of having an affair. When they would be fighting, she would tell me not to talk to dad or she will jump off our house. Young me would be very scared. I didn't want to lose my mom. She would say your dad would marry another woman and you will have a stepmom. She used to say stepmoms abuse their stepkids, the irony. They beat them and deny them food and basic needs. One evening when I was 10, mom was on the roof till 11:30 p.m. I found her roaming around, not sad or anything. She said she was just bored. We only had one bedroom me and parents shared. I went to sleep and dad was already asleep. Mom finally came down at 11:45 p.m. Took out something from cupboard, ate it, and she came to sleep next to me. She told me she had swallowed 4 Valium pills, high-power sleeping tablets, and said, "Your dad can marry whoever he wants." I am out, and she casually went to sleep. I was very scared, crying. I didn't know what to do. I hugged her and couldn't stop crying for an hour or so. She finally woke up, went to bathroom, and I could hear puking sound for 10 to 15 seconds and she came back to sleep. She didn't say anything. I was still not sure whether I would have a mom after waking up next day. But she was completely fine and acted like nothing happened last night. I used to have nightmares for months after that in which either my mom has died or she has left the home forever. When I was in severe depression and had to drop out for a year from school, mom used to say you and I should both drink poison because you are useless anyway. She would make jokes like, "Watch out, I might have mixed something in your food. Why do you keep living? You are not doing anything for family." Sorry if this is not the right subreddit, I just needed to get this off my chest. What kind of horrific monster tells their kids they are going to kill themselves? Even us Texans ain't that brutal. I hope you are okay, OP. Quick edit: us Texans aren't really brutal, just our weather. The very strange thing is she would casually say and do these things in front of dad, brother, grandpa. None ever bothers to say anything to her, which led to me thinking this is normal behavior and I am overreacting and feeling shocked and confused. I hope you're okay, man. Just so you know, we've got your back. Thanks. Currently dealing with depression, suicidal ideations, anxiety, PTSD, but it feels a lot easier than how my life was living with them. I'm sad because some people has these kinds of parents. Growing up, I used to think people are only nice when they are in public and show their true face when at home. I am really happy though knowing most people are not like my mom. Entitled mother showed up to my door and tried to break into my home. She assaulted me, and I had to defend myself. Now she's making herself out to be the victim. So to get you all up to speed, I'm going to give you a rundown of my situation. I went in with my mother back in October. She threw a tantrum about her husband not being invited to my Halloween party. The reason he wasn't invited: he was abusive to me my whole life. He molested me for 2 years. He sexually assaulted me. He was physically, emotionally, and verbally abusive as well. He's a sociopath. He doesn't give a shit about who he harms or anyone else's feelings. He's a pedophile, and that's why I'm protecting my child from him and my mom. I went NC with my mother's husband 2 years ago almost. I went NC in May 2022 when I found out I was pregnant, and I moved in with my husband shortly after. My mother tried extreme methods to get her way. She had sent me fake custody papers in the mail to try and scare me. Her husband came to my door yelling and demanding to see my daughter. He yelled, cursed, and kicked my door, which I got with my Ring doorbell camera. He was arrested by officers for not leaving and for threatening them. They have been non-stop trying to contact me. My mother even showed up to my husband's job and caused a scene. So that's the rundown of the whole situation. So my mother came to my door this morning when my husband just came back from his overnight shift at his job. She banged on my door and my husband answered it. For context, this situation was all caught on camera. I have cameras outside my apartment door, and I have one in the house pointed at the door. My husband told her that she wasn't welcome here. She yelled at him and said, "I want to see my daughter. She's been ignoring me. I am her mother. She has no right to treat me this way." I was instantly irritated. I told my husband to go to the back room with our child. I walked to the door and blocked her from getting inside. She was yelling and screaming at me like a crazy person. She threw a tantrum because she found out about my daughter's party and she wasn't invited. She said it wasn't fair. She demanded I let her in my house to see my daughter, who for some reason she calls her daughter. It's creepy and weird. She tried to bulldoze her way into my house. I tried to shut my door and she pushed against it. I was flung into the wall so hard it left a hole in our drywall. I had bruises on my forearm. I screamed at her to get out. She shoved me and I saw red. I punched her in the face so hard that she flew back. I managed to get her out of my doorway, and we shut the door and locked it. My husband called the police. She was arrested for assault and for attempted breaking in and entering, or whatever they'd call it. Now she's telling every one of my Facebook friends a fake sob story and claimed that I assaulted her. Even with the camera footage of her assaulting me, she is still lying. I pressed charges. We are moving when our lease is up in April. We will be moving into a house with my husband's dad for safety reasons. Am I wrong for punching her? I really didn't want to punch her and I feel awful that I did. I was defending myself, but I still feel like it could have been handled differently. I need advice on moving forward and what other precautions I can take. Good for you. It seems NC seems to be the best thing, and I hope no one believes her sob story. And can you and your husband get a restraining order for stepfather? Also, she started the fight. You were defending yourself. I think you are all right protecting yourself and your family. Also, make sure she doesn't find your new address. Tell your mother's family that she isn't to know, and for safety ask your husband's family too. Also, if someone asks what if she has news just for you, may I suggest getting a P.O. box from your new home. Not sure where you are though, so take this with a grain of salt. Hun, I've been following this story since you first posted. Nothing you have done is wrong. Press charges and get restraining/protection orders for you, your husband and your daughter against your mom and her BF. Stay strong. NTA, she deserved that punch and more. Don't feel bad. People who say you shouldn't have never been in that situation. Absolutely not wrong for defending yourself. I've followed your posts since the first one a little while back. A restraining order is a good start for the both of them. Although stepdad should already have a temporary one from his pending charges not long ago, but double check on that. A cease and desist letter drawn up from an attorney and sent to them, detailing that you and your husband want absolutely nothing to do with either of them. They are not to contact you in any manner, and if they do, police will be called. It's a paper trail detailing exactly what you want and expect from them. Definitely stay vigilant and safe until you can move in a few months. I'm actually just blown away that she allowed her husband to molest you and still feel like there is a relationship with you. Vent, why can't MIL keep her mouth shut about our baby news? In fairness, this is old news for me now, but I am still annoyed about it. I'm 28 weeks pregnant and my partner and I told our parents early on, when I was 5 or 6 weeks pregnant. My parents were over the moon. Mael, however, seemed uncomfortable. She's since come around to the idea, but this didn't stop her telling everyone before we got the opportunity to, and when we were ready, my partner's siblings, her friends, people I don't even know, her neighbors. All after being told we aren't telling until after our first scan on October 13th, please don't say before then. There wasn't a soul in her phone book who didn't know. My parents, on the other hand, respected our wishes. Fast forward to picking names. My parents know our daughter's name, I trust them and they won't tell anyone. But because my parents know, he wanted Mael to know. I told him how hesitant I was after her telling everyone we were expecting before we were ready, but he said it was only fair. I could see his logic, but I was still hesitant. So we tell her and tell her to not tell anyone, even family, until after the baby is born, and she does the same again. She tells everyone and she feeds back how many people think the name we've picked is very pretty. My tongue is covered in bite marks from dealing with this woman. Why can't she keep her mouth shut? I get she's now excited, but she's been asked to keep it quiet. Why is that so hard? Edit. Thank you everyone for all your comments. In regards to Elo's name, we love it, so even though she spoiled the reveal within the family, there are still people outside who don't know her name. We will not be changing it. Edit 2. I have had a word with So this morning regarding his mother, and he doesn't understand why it's a problem, because she's excited and I told people I trust, and people I know won't tell. He is on the spectrum, so I think it may be a case of he sees it as everyone getting the same information, but I agree with you guys who've said fair is not equal, because you were right. So spoken to him about that and stressed again that her sharing has upset me. We are at a family funeral next week, so it will be interesting to see how many people come over to pat my tummy without consent. I will say it's a pork pie, not a baby, because I hate being touched without permission, and say X is such a pretty name. I will also be talking to Mil gently. She suffers with anxiety. To her sons, her feelings matter more than anything else, and I will be saying that her sharing the name has disappointed me because we trusted her with that information and asked her to not share it, but she's telling people we don't even know. Really, So should be saying this, but he can't confront his mother because he's a soft touch when it comes to her. Edit 3. Update. Have spoken to So about my issues. He was struggling to get past the fact that Elo is also his kid, so he has a say too. I expressed what a lot of you guys have said about fair is not equal, and when I want the world to know my business, I'll tell his mother first. I explained that it is a breach of trust, it's not her news. He threw out that Mael was controlled by both his father and her ex after his dad. So that gives her a pass to control our lives and to share our news when asked not to? We did argue about it, but I think he's seen sense and he will be telling his mother to keep her mouth shut and reel her neck in. That trust has been broken for me. I just hope he understands why I do not want her in the hospital straight after Elo is born. Yes, she is his daughter, but how I explained to him is when he had kidney stones, would he have wanted my parents there straight after if he'd needed an operation? No. They'd have been at the bottom of the pile. Baby equals a right to visit immediately after. When I phrased it like that, he seems to have understood. It sounds like you have a partner problem. The reason why it is fair is because your parents respected your wishes and your Mil did not. She does not get your trust anymore because she has broken your trust twice. What, are you going for the 3 strikes you're out rule? And why should she change when she isn't facing any consequences? Yes, gently OP, some of this is on you. She showed you who she was and you trusted her the second time anyway. Please put her on an informational diet and work on getting your partner to see the light. Your husband now has plenty of evidence. Tell him it's his job to manage her and that she is no longer allowed to hear privileged info about your children. Your husband now has plenty of evidence. Tell him it's his job to manage her and that she is no longer allowed to hear privileged info about anything ever. Fixed it for you. There is a desired outcome, that you can announce something important at the time of your choosing. You gave equal opportunity to both mothers. Their actions had different outcomes. One has earned trust, the other has earned distrust. It's only fair that the mother who has proven she can be trusted is in the inner circle. And that the mother who has proven she cannot be trusted has to wait and hear with the general public. These are the consequences of both of their actions. Don't let her steal your announcements. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.